Hello, welcome to the Run to Remember podcast. This is your host, Kristen Fairs, joined alongside race director Carrie Watkins. Carrie, the Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon is just a week away, and this weekend we start to just really the remembrance of
30 years.
30 years.
It's remarkable. Mm-hmm. And I think really it's just about coming together to remember, and then we get through this, as Kay Warren described in our family meeting the other night, just kind of a drumbeat of April, how hard that is on those who are most impacted. And then we kind of get through it, and they realize they've done it again. They're courageous, strong folks, right. Family members, survivors, first responders. It's something they live with forever. And then they go celebrate life in the Memorial Marathon. And we'll talk to some really important folks today who are bought into this and who have walk the walk over the last 30 years.
In this episode, we will talk to, or we'll hear from some family members. We'll talk to a survivor and a first responder, and just really get into the meaning of why we run this race.
That's right, and it is a different race, and it will always be a different race. And when we say why we run, we want people to know why we run. We don't want to keep this as a normal, everyday marathon. It's just not. And so we always want to remember our mission.
Mm-hmm. It's a race with purpose.
So I was in D.C. earlier, and we planted a survivor tree at the Capitol, which was remarkable. I mean, there aren't trees planted on the United States Capitol grounds every week. And we planted a seedling of the survivor tree, about 6 foot tall, hauled it up on the plane, stuck it in the bathroom. Everybody's good with that. And took it to the Capitol and planted it. And we had folks who lived in the area, first responders, family members, come to the dedication of it. And the Witcher family, which they call themselves the Witcher Army, were there. And so we spoke to two of the three kids of Alan Witcher and his widow, and just remarkable how they've moved forward in 30 years, but they've not forgotten why.
Right. Okay, so let's hear what they had to say.
Hey, we're in Washington, D.C. I'm with Witcher's Army, and these folks are getting ready to run. Or you're preparing to come back to run the Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon.
Absolutely.
So who's doing what? Tell me your story.
So I'm doing the quarter marathon. My wife is running the quarter marathon with me. My older sister, who's not here, Meredith, and then one of our cousins is also going to be running it as well. I ran 6 miles last night. We're a couple weeks away. My legs only hurt a little bit today. So I think I'm going to be in good shape for that.
And you guys are supporting the Army? Are you running?
We are the cheerleaders. We're the cheerleaders. So I'll be doing the 10K with my brother-in-law, James. So we will probably be walking.
Hey, you just got to meet a time. You got to be at a certain spot. After you're going to go to this new bridge we did, it says "Be the Light," and you're going to be in the old automobile alley. I mean, you're going to touch a lot of familiar spots. But you guys, in all seriousness, are here because you lost your husband. You guys lost your dad on April 19th, which is why we run.
Yep.
So the community comes together now for the 25th time to run the Memorial Marathon. What's that mean to you guys?
I mean, it's just like a great way for everyone to come back and remember what happened a little bit, but also remember all the great things about Oklahoma too. Like, it's a fun event. It's not sad. I mean, there's sad elements obviously forever, but it's a great way to remember something that happened, but still celebrating life and still, health and exercise. All these things are great. It's a joy to be there every time that we're there, and we actually love being in the city.
Great.
I miss the city. I loved it. I mean, the first minute Alan and I got off the plane, we were both like, this is just such a great city. It's clean. It's friendly. And, just the minute we got out of Will Rogers Airport, we were happy. I personally feel closest to Alan in Oklahoma City still, especially when we go to the chairs, and just being in the chairs, it blesses my heart, and full of good memories.
You guys left Washington, D.C. and came to Oklahoma City to have a quieter, calmer life, right?
Yeah, he was a Secret Service agent working for the Clinton detail, and traveled a lot, was gone a lot. These guys were growing up. He was 11, she was 15, and I think he probably was gone a good 4 months of a year.
At least, yeah.
At least, and he just wanted to go to a quiet place and be with his kids more and watch them grow up more. He'd missed a lot of birthdays, and he even missed a couple of Thanksgivings and stuff like that. So he just wanted to be with his family and have a quiet time. We got there in June, and he was gone the next April. So
unbelievable.
It was really heart-wrenching.
Yep. So you're gonna run, and you're gonna run it on your dad. And you guys have some Winter Army shirts you're gonna wear?
We do. So we had shirts made that say Alan Witcher's Army on them. And not only will we be wearing them, but we actually have almost an army of people who are going to be wearing these shirts on the sidelines and in the run. We have friends and family coming, extended family. We have friends and family who aren't coming, who are at home, who are still went ahead and got the shirts and are posting it on social media. So it's yeah, it's really
we
great.
got the Secret Service involved. Our brother-in-law, James, Meredith's husband, is still in the Secret Service now. So we recruited them to buy some shirts. So I think a bunch of the Secret Service runners are going to be wearing them. Yeah, I think we sold 60, 70, something like that.
I think you guys know this, but President Clinton's been back 7 times. He's coming back for the 8th on the anniversary. He always goes to your dad's chair. He always goes into the Gallery of Honor and goes to his box. What's that mean to you guys?
I mean, that means everything to us. Like, he took so much pride in his job of, taking care of the president. Like, it was a duty, and he really took it very seriously. And Bush Sr. and Clinton both have said so many beautiful things about him, and it shows that he took his job seriously, and they really appreciated, the service that he provided for them, and it's a really nice feeling.
And make good memories. I mean, he had great stories, some of which I can't share.
Do not tell.
I will not tell. But most of them were happy, good stories, and he loved his job. He loved the people that he was working for, and what can I say? The President of the United States goes to his chair. That's pretty doggone special.
Yeah,
pretty special.
What about you?
I think it says a lot about Mr. Clinton's character, and I think it's really lovely that we had a president who felt a personal connection to the people who he was surrounded by, even though they were technically working for him, how much those people meant to him, and I hope every president feels that way.
Yeah. So one last question. You're going to get there on race morning. There's going to be 25,000 plus runners that have run over the weekend. Run to remember. Run in honor. Many will wear your dad's name. You guys will wear your dad's name. What's that say to you now, 30 years after the bombing?
Well, I worry, and I think everyone worries in our family, that like this will get forgotten, right? Another tragedy will happen, something else will go on. It's been 30 years, and I was 12 years old. I was in 6th grade. If you do the math, I'm 39. I'm 42 now, right?
Morel Mark.
Yeah.
Right.
It's been a long time, and people forget about these things. And having 25,000 people there once a year to remember the bombing, but remember all the people and see the museum and all that, like it makes me feel that it's not getting forgotten, which I like wholeheartedly appreciate so much.
Yeah, I agree with everything he said. I mean, it just it does sometimes. I mean, the grief does diminish, but the memories don't. I mean, it's still a very clear day to me, and 30 years later, to know that people are still thinking about that and still out there running and wearing an Army shirt for Alan means a lot. It really does.
So what's your take to what do you tell runners who are running who have no idea weren't alive 30 years ago? Just quickly sum up why they run to remember.
Why run to remember? Because you're a part of this community, you're a part of this United States, because you're a part of humanity, because this tragedy happened. It affected so many people. It could happen again, and let's not forget.
Thank you, guys.
Amen. Yeah.
You guys are like the. I mean, really, you're such a great. To be a young mom and to raise 3 kids, and what a job you did.
She did a great job.
Remarkable.
Thank you.
Remarkable.
Thank you, honey.
Thank you guys for sharing your stories.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
So, Carrie, so many things struck me about your interview with the Witcher family, but I think one of the things that hit me the most was how important it is for those who lost the most for us to continue to remember, and how they see the race as an opportunity for people to remember that you have 25,000 people out on the streets of Oklahoma City who are there to remember.
Right.
And I can only imagine, that you would always want that memory to be held.
Right.
And you would never want somebody to forget your family member. And so just what a way.
Yeah, in this crazy world, and there's so much going on, and the last news cycle, the last text, the last social media post, they just don't want people to forget their
Right.
loved ones or what people went through or the most remarkable police and recovery work. I mean, people don't want to forget that. If they lived through it, they want people to know that story. And so I love that they brought that. The other part of that story that struck me is he wanted to move his family to a quieter place so that he could spend more time with them. They moved in June. He was killed in April. And that just is like a knife to the heart when you think about a dad who he really put his career on hold to go live life with his kids, and then, you know, people who sought to divide us had some other different format. So I love their spirit. I love their spirit of enthusiasm. I love that Pam's remarried, and I love that her new husband was there celebrating this tree and this family with us, and he'll be here. They're driving their fifth wheel in to Oklahoma City race week, and I love that whole spirit of this family.
And it's touching to know that this is where she feels the closest.
I know. That was so nice.
Yeah, me too. We are so thankful for our broadcast partner, KWTV News 9 and Griffin Media. News 9 will have its own army of staff covering the race from start line to the finish line.
Every year, people from all 50 states and many countries come here to Oklahoma City
for a run to remember, for those who were killed, those who survived, and those changed forever. Come join us for this year's Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon.
6 races, volunteer opportunities, and of course, cheering on the runners.
There are ways for everyone to celebrate and remember life all weekend.
Let's all lace up and run to remember. Log on to okcmarathon.com today.
Our next guest, Amy Downs, is a survivor, and she will truly inspire you no matter what you're doing. Whether you're running, volunteering, or cheering on the runners, Amy is going to inspire you to get out there and give it your all.
And guess what? She retired from her job that she had in 1995. She's not retired because we won't let her, but she's retired from which was Legion's Credit Union, but she was there on April 19th and tell us your story a little bit, Amy.
Yeah, I worked for the credit union on the 3rd floor of the Murrah building, and we lost 18 of our 33 employees, and I'm just so thankful, to see all the names when people run in honor, and I see all the names of my coworkers and people running by, and they haven't forgotten, and it's just an incredible race. I love it.
And so you survived. You were there that morning. You survived. You kind of made a promise to God if you got through this, you were going to live your life differently.
I did. I fell 3 floors. I was buried under around 10 feet of rubble. And during the time where there was a second bomb scare, my rescuers had to leave. And so I had about 45 minutes of what I describe as life flashing before your eyes. And I just begged God for a second chance. And when I did get out, I promised God I will never live my life the same. I won't take it for granted, And so I just feel like I'm still living on borrowed time, and I want to do all the things and just live life.
And so tell us about what you've done, because you inspire people.
Yeah, well, I just I'm a little crazy, I guess. So I do a lot of things.
At least you self-admitted. That's
That's
the first step.
First step. I don't know. But so I went back to college. So I had a whole piece in education where I, worked on that, got my master's. A lot of faith was a very important part of my journey. And my job was very important because we had to rebuild our credit union after it was, just nearly destroyed. And worked there for 36 years and literally, just retired last week, which is just so strange. And then I had a whole, health journey, which included, riding a bike, losing a lot of weight, and then one day working the finish line for this event is dangerous because I saw all these people crossing the finish line, like with, young, old, disabilities. It didn't matter. And it tricked me. And I thought, well, if they can do it, I can do it, So I tell everybody I'm going to run in honor of one of my coworkers who was killed. Then I show up for the Land Runners training run and discover I can't run more than 10 seconds without it sounding like you need to call 911. But I stayed at it, right? So it's just 1 mile at a time, right? You just one mile. And before you know it, you're doing a half marathon or a full marathon or the 5K. So I've participated, I don't know how many years. I think I started maybe in 2012. I can't remember, but I skipped the year of the hellfire and brimstone. That year, where everybody got hailed on. Skipped that year. I was out of town.
Yeah, how'd you know about that?
I was going to say.
They told my friends.
No, but how'd you know to skip it?
Right.
I know. I didn't. I was doing a bike ride in Louisiana, and it was on the same day. And then I started getting text messages from friends who were taking cover, But I mean, what a that would actually be a cool race because then you could tell everybody I ran that
yep,
year.
I did.
That's strength and resilience.
Right.
yes.
Yep. You can really do hard things if you can run through
So
that.
I went on. I ran, and then I started swimming, and then I did a full Ironman when I turned 50. And,
Which is amazing.
Yes,
In
it
and of
is.
itself. I mean, at any age, but yeah.
And
So-
you're going to run the 5K or walk the 5K.
So I'm going
with-
to do the 5K with my son. I did it last year for the first time. I'd always done the half or the full, and my son wanted to do the 5K last year. And at first, to be honest, I was a little like, and I hate it when people say this, but I did the same thing. I'm just going to do the 5K.
Right.
Y'all, that 5K is no joke. It's a party. It is fun. And there are so many people. I had no idea. I showed up, and I for a split second, I thought I was on the half marathon day. Because, I mean, it was that many people.
Right,
I was
right.
like,
It
what
is. It's a big race.
happening? It's not like a little.
No,
a
it's
big
the largest
deal.
5K in the state.
And then it was so fun. I mean, I remember, passing the mariachi band, and I'm thinking, I might want to start doing the 5K every year. This is pretty cool. And here I am. I'm doing it again.
And really, the 5K for many people is a marathon. I mean,
Yes.
they're just getting off their couch, and,
Sure.
and you've made that journey.
And you know what? It is for me right now. I am not in half marathon shape anymore. And this is really important.
Well, you've been busy retiring.
I've been busy with a lot of things. And as we age, okay, you know what? Your body slows down. And what I really, want to stress to people is don't, when you say I want to beat yesterday, a lot of people are like, well, I can't run as fast as I did 5 years ago. Who cares? You're beating literally yesterday, like just yesterday. Go a little further, go a little stronger. It's okay as we slow down. There's other ways to enjoy it and still participate. You don't have to just quit because you're not getting a PR every time you run. It's okay.
Yeah, that's important for runners to hear because that mentality is hard when your body starts to age and, things start to creak a little and it's just...
I've even heard some elite runners talk about how sometimes they don't run as much anymore because they're not hitting that, amazing pace anymore. It's not all about pace. It's so much more. And this particular run is about so much more.
And to run with your son. Sorry. To run with your son.
Yes.
I mean, he's got a cool mom.
There you go.
Survivor,
And
the bombing.
he's cool. He's a drummer. He's at OU.
So
It's awesome.
who's going to do the drum line if he's
He's bringing some OU drummers to the Allegiance Drumline
on
this year.
Sunday?
Oh, very fun.
So
So as a survivor, what does this race mean to you?
It means a lot because, and okay, I'm sorry, I feel the emotion coming. It's just
okay.
that time of year. I tell this a lot, but when I was in the hospital, on the 8th day of the hospital is when they found my best friend at work, Sonia, they found her body. And so I was crying. And I remember looking out of the window of Presbyterian, which is now OU, out on the street below, which is Lincoln. And in the middle of the day, what I saw was every car driving with their headlights on. And that's when we used to have to turn them on manually.
Right.
And if you forgot, you'd have to get your car jumped. But I remember looking out at all those lights, and it was like just a beacon of, a symbol of hope and love from the community. And everybody was saying, we will never forget, we will never forget. To me, this run is we are not forgetting. It's still those headlights,
Right.
It's still that symbol, so.
you have a best-selling book, Hope is a Verb, that's also part of your life and how you live it. Tell us a little bit about that.
I worked on a book for years because people kept saying, do you have a book? Do you have a book? And I kept thinking, well, I need to have a book. But I struggled with like the direction, what I was, am I just talking about
Not
me?
easy.
What am I doing here, And I was really inspired by a book called Hope Rising, which is authors from Oklahoma. And I loved their message that hope is the belief that your future can be better and brighter than your past, but that you play an actual role in making that happen. And that just hit because that's exactly what I have been trying to do. So we let the authors know it inspired us, and we were going to take a spin off of that hope title, and we went with Hope is a Verb, and it's my journey of impossible transformation, talking about the bombing and about other things, and about the city and how the city's transformed and how my life transformed.
And you and I share a wonderful love of a mentor, Florence Rogers, who I call FloJo. And she passed away last year, but she had an impact on you. I know she did on me. And she was so proud of you and proud that you stepped into her shoes eventually. And let's just talk about FloJo for a second.
It's funny because I was hoping I'd have a minute to talk to you before the podcast to tell you I miss FloJo.
I
So
know.
we're talking about it right now.
Yeah.
I miss FloJo.
She popped up on my feed the other day. I was like, oh, I just want to call her.
No, I wish I could talk to her so much. I wish I could talk to her. she was the first person I told when I was thinking about retiring, before I told anybody what was going on. And I talked to her on the phone several times, had so many great conversations. Let me tell you what this amazing woman did. When she knew that her life was coming toward an end, she recorded a video to me that she wanted me to have on the day I retired, telling me how proud she was of me, wishing me the best. It was just this amazing video that she recorded. So I have this video of her after she passed away, congratulating me.
Isn't that amazing?
What a gift.
On my
What a gift.
retirement, like leading from the grave. Like,
So this is
she's
a woman that rebuilt the credit
Yeah.
union, lost 8
Yes.
people across from her desk, and really, she poured into Amy, I know, and I feel like she poured into me. Just great spirit, fiery red hair,
yes.
made Lucille Ball's hair look brown. I mean, like she was the
so
best.
I gotta tell you, if I have a second, I gotta tell you how she hired me. I applied for a teller position at the credit union, and I'm young and I'm terrible at math. I failed math classes, so I don't know what they're going to ask me during this interview. She walks into the interview as the vice president's interview, and she goes, "Oh, you're applying for the teller job. What's your birthday?" And of course, nowadays in HR, that you can't ask that, but you could back then. So she says, "What's your birthday?" And I said, "March 31st." And she went, "Oh, good. We need another Aries."
Is that right?
That is how I
That's
got my
hilarious.
job, for real.
She's the best. But the credit union's a special place. They were not federal employees, but they were in the federal building.
Right.
Their office was, and they served so many.
Yeah.
But just the role that group has played has always been a part of
Race Day.
of Race Day. And anyway, we owe it a lot to Florence and
Yeah.
Amy
Yeah.
and many others there.
And Amy, before you go, I know that you do a great job of inspiring people. So as people are a week out from this race, what would you say to runners at the
The thing that I try to stress to people is, if you're someone who you're wanting to do, you're doing the half, you're doing the full, or the 5K, or the quarter this year. Everybody's so excited about that. A lot of people get really focused on pace. And I know, I've done it, I've done the same thing. Really focused on that. I just would encourage you to, you've done the work. You've done the work, right? Let go of that pace thing. You don't know what weather conditions will be. You don't know what your body will be like. Let go of that. Do not let your pace be the only thing that dictates whether this is successful to you or not. Like, really embrace what it's about. Really look at the community. This is people putting their differences aside in a time where, it's just so, polarizing. People are coming together for something good. Like, embrace the whole thing and don't let it be all about your pace.
great
That's
advice?
good.
Yeah.
So, when you have your own bag of nerds gummy clusters,
We know since you're a runner, we know that you know about Nerds Gummy
I have
Clusters.
a problem with these, actually.
and our doctor, Dr. Coleman, has recommended that they can replace a goo along the course.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
there you go.
Straight from Dr.
Okay.
Coleman.
So they're
Right?
healthy.
They're healthy. That I will only eat
like
while
that.
I run.
Right.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah.
course.
So,
Thank you so much,
Thank
Amy.
you, Amy. The Franchise 107.7 is where Oklahomans go to get their sports and Memorial Marathon news, including our weekly marathon minutes.
Tyler Media, Oklahoma's media company, and 107.7 The Franchise are proud to be a sponsor of the Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon. Today, we celebrate the incredible spirit of the runners and donors who make Oklahoma City a strong symbol of hope and resilience.
Our next guest is Oklahoma City Police Deputy Chief Brian Jennings. Chief Jennings was one of the first responders on the scene on April 19, 1995. He's also worked the OKC Marathon and most recently has become a marathon runner.
This is number 4 for you in 1 year.
Yes. Last year was the first marathon I'd done
In Oklahoma
in
City.
Oklahoma City, and so coming back this year is pretty special.
He caught the bug.
I know.
Becoming the 25th anniversary, yeah. It's
so
kind of
you-
a bug. It is kind
Yeah.
of a bug. a
So you
little bit.
ran last April. You ran Disney. Well, you ran Tulsa.
Yes.
You ran Disney.
Yes.
I got some pictures from Disney of
Yeah.
him running. It was really great. And now you're running again.
Yes. Yeah.
Remarkable.
Special 25th anniversary one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Can't miss it.
No.
Yep. So you were one of the first responders on April 19th, 1995, and kind of just tell us about that and how it's brought you to where you are today.
Yeah, as a young officer, we were assigned different duties there after the event, and so my role was working the temporary morgue for a couple days, and so that was my contribution or work to the event, and so but just that experience along with working with all your colleagues and I call them teammates, really. We work together
Right.
as a team trying to first help recover the victims and then work towards justice as well. You know.
Incredible police work. I mean, I take people through the museum all the time, and people who don't know the story are just like, how did all this come into play? I mean, incredible from city, county, state, federal level, law enforcement working together, unmatched to this day, 30 years later.
I totally agree with that. Everybody had a role, no matter how small it was. It was a role that worked towards the ultimate resolution, the recovery, and then the justice is a part of it. No role was too small, that's for sure.
And I think we saw all the police chiefs come together recently at the memorial, and we're just honored to be able to host those folks and bring some great speakers and intelligence in from people who are looking at this worldwide. What is that? How does all that stack up with you?
That was a great experience. It's very easy to forget, as we know, and this is a great opportunity to remind us. But we got to hear from Bob Ricks about his insight and thought into what happened back then in 1995. And then we had some training in domestic and international terrorism. And I think it's very easy to become complacent in our day-to-day lives. If nothing's happening, and then after that happens so many years, or you just become very relaxed and complacent. So we needed that reminder that there is still that evil out there.
Eye-opening.
Eye-opening, and so we've got to continue to be diligent, aware, and we've got to work with each other to make sure this doesn't happen again. No matter what we have to do something and stay diligent. So that was just a great eye-opener and a reminder.
And I thought just the fact there were police chiefs and top folks from all the agencies across Oklahoma, being the city, small, large, how they worked together then. They were in that room as we watched them, and it kind of gave me so much pride just to know that men and women are, no matter what, they're willing to go across their city boundaries and work for the good of another city. And we saw that 30 years ago, but it was heartwarming to see that again.
I think 30 years ago was the catalyst for what we're at today, you know.
Right.
And you still talk to people across the country in our profession, and many of them do not have the same relationships or the partnerships that we have here in Oklahoma, for sure, by far.
Right. So something gave you the bug, or you leaped into this running. What made you do that?
We have a team on our department that goes to Bakers, California, to Vegas. It's called the Baker to Vegas Run, 120-mile run. And so they asked if I would do it, and so I said yes, and I did terrible at it, and so I was like, I got to do better. So signed up with Red Coyote on their training program, and then the next thing I know, I did a half, and then, well, I did half. Well, might as well just do 13 more, and so.
Yeah, just 13
that's
more.
That's the mentality of a runner.
It's incredible.
You finish 13.1, you're like, oh, I could double that.
And to be honest with you, the people you run with in that group are very inspirational. They're talking about the memorial run. I've seen it so many years from the outside of it.
Working it.
But when you hear them talk about it from the inside and what it means to them, you really come inspired to try that. And so, I did it.
Right.
So what tips do you have for runners?
Just stay focused to finish. It's very easy to talk yourself to stop.
Yeah.
As you know, you just can talk yourself into, oh, I'm tired, I need to stop. But it's really a mental game. And
especially at this point in training. You've done the hard work. I think you told me you've run 20 miles twice in this training cycle. So you can do it.
Yeah.
Right. Now you just have to get there.
You just got to get there and just keep going.
Stay healthy.
Stay healthy,
So have you tried Nerds Clusters yet?
I have not, but now I am very interested.
We're going to give you some to try. You'll have to try some and let us know what you think. What does it mean to not only be out there running, but just have that memory also of being a first responder?
I've done a couple other races, like you said, but it was more for the experience and the fun. This is more for the emotion of it. It has much more meaning to us as Oklahomans, for sure, plus as first responders. So to be able to take that time to just remember, but also look forward.
Right.
We're always trying to get better and not repeat some of those things and continue to grow as a community. And so that's how I look at it, not only remembering, but just being thankful as well for what we have in this community and what we have in our own lives as well, and just to let your mind free while you're running and just think about that. Like she said, don't worry about your pace. And that was a perfect bit of advice. We do get focused on how quickly we're going to finish, and that's still part of it. But I think if you let your mind go to that, what's important, pace will be there.
So you run by all these officers, younger officers who are working the course, which you did at some point. You're teaching them the story. That's very important to you guys to make sure you pass down that legacy, I know.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Many of the officers we have now weren't even born at that time, and so to keep that memory alive is very important. And to teach them, it's difficult. I feel, not everybody in our department gets the opportunity to do this because we do have to provide the security for the event and make sure it happens. And so I'm thankful that I'm able to do this, and I'm hopeful that more can do it in the future too. At least the half or 5K for sure.
Yeah, it's remarkable to watch the leadership of the department pour into these younger officers, men and women, and just making sure they know the story, they know the importance of working together. They're coming into a world where not everybody works together, and I think that the display I've seen with the Oklahoma City Police and Fire and all the federal agencies and all the different police chiefs I watched, it is a remarkable tale. And like you said, we can't take that for granted because it is not everywhere.
No. And it's easy to do that here, for sure.
Yeah. Well, best of luck on race day to you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Very much looking forward to it.
I look forward to seeing you at the finish line.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
We're so lucky to have those men and women protecting us, and I sat in on a briefing this week and just absolutely just astounded by the work they're willing to do and do behind the scenes that we will never see. The layers they put in to protect us is remarkable. So really grateful for that, and just to hear from the Witcher family and Amy. Gosh, they're all
I
inspirational.
know they are, and I mean, I was just kind of thinking on my way down here this morning just about that. What I was saying to Chief Jennings, that you've done the work now, and now it is the time, and especially this week, it's the time to reflect on the importance and the significance of
And the
this
why.
race and the why. Those
One
were all
thing,
just
one
great
thing new
reminders.
this year, and I think we've talked about it a little bit, but if they're a family member, a survivor, a first responder, they will be wearing these buttons if they're volunteering, so that if you're a runner,
Oh,
like
great.
you'll know someone who's impacted
see it.
by that. And if you're running and you're in one of those three divisions, you'll have a sticker on your bib. So as you come across the finish line, someone giving you your medal,
Right.
they'll know that you've walked this journey for 30 years. And so this is an idea that the Conscience Committee talked about, and we're just excited that folks will have these buttons on. And
Yeah, well, and I know that you've had the in honor of the little bibs
Right,
that people
right.
wear on the back of their shirt, and I know as a runner myself that it's always inspirational when I see those, and so I this is going to add another
Right.
layer of inspiration to have be able to notice
Correct.
those people, and yeah.
I think it'll be great, and I'm glad for the folks who are volunteering to have the buttons on, folks who are running, for us to put the medals on, to know it was somebody, and to learn their story,
Right.
and to learn the journey they've been on. So it's remarkable.
Yeah.
So much is going on.
There's a lot going on. This is a big weekend. We've got the
30th anniversary.
30th
President Clinton
anniversary
coming
on
tomorrow,
Saturday, and those are held on the memorial grounds, open to the public.
weather permitting.
Yes.
And otherwise, we'll be at the church across the street, which has just redone their chapel with the help of the Jewish Federation and the Islamic Society of Oklahoma City. And so those folks built that in 1995 as a sign of unity and coming together, Interfaith Chapel. And so that's just been redone, and so folks can see that this weekend or race weekend. But there has been so much good that's happened as we've led up to the 30th anniversary, and just really grateful that our team has been able to be a part of it and watch it. And the marathon is certainly the capstone of just celebrating the lives we lost, but also celebrating the lives we still enjoy today.
Right, and just truly a chance to just remember, which is, as we've heard, is so important to the people who were there
Right.
that day.
So as you gear up for race week, you're about to be in Oklahoma City in the next few days,
Yeah.
and we've got a slate of incredible legends that will be here. We'll be honoring 25 years of running. The streetcars are free that weekend, and so they'll be running. You can check our website for the schedule. The expo is going to be out of sight,
Great.
so we're
Yeah.
excited about that. And what else? What else is going on?
I mean, it's just a good time for people to come in and just see how much Oklahoma City is growing. I mean, we'll have people who've never been here before, but we've got people from 16 countries now
Right. Isn't that
coming,
incredible?
and all 50 states. And so just to see Oklahoma City,
Yep,
in and
we're
of
ready for
itself,
ya.
we are ready, and
Ready.
we're excited.
Ready to run to remember.
Ready to run to remember. And that's a wrap for this week's episode. Thank you for joining us this week. Join us next week for our live Run to Remember podcast at the Health and Fitness Expo at the Oklahoma City Convention Center. We look forward to seeing everyone race weekend. This is your host, Kristen Fairs. Let's marathon.